Hey, what's going on? I'm Jake. Welcome to KALE Robot. In this week's deep dive, we're going to take a look at how I make Salsa Roja number 2 with Costeño Rojo chilies. In Salsa Roja number 1, I balanced 2 of Mexico's more seminal chilies in guajillos and arbos. Today, we're just going to be featuring a single varietal, the Costeño Rojo chili. Costeños are cool. They're interesting because they have this fruity and chocolatey complexity to them, along with a fair to moderate amount of heat. Now, this method for preparing salsa is going to be very similar to the last one that I made. What's great about this way is that it really allows me to feature the chili by itself and really get a sense for what it is. Now, my last video, I was able to use this salsa and see how well it pairs with artichokes in my spring tamal recipe. But here, this is basically just an example of how I get to learn about all the great chilies that are so prominent in Mexican cuisine. So, for example, I might make someone else's mole recipe that's going to use like 4 or 5 different chilies. It's going to taste amazing, I guarantee you that. But what I'm really interested in is how did they arrive at picking those chilies to go together in this mole? So when I make a salsa like this, I really get a sense for the chili. And then the next time I have that mole, that more ingredient complex mole, I'm going to appreciate it on like a whole different level, you know? So for this particular salsa, I keep it simple by using just the Costeño chilies, a clove of garlic, some bay leaf, as well as a fresh Hoja leaf. It comes together real quick. Again, super simple, and it's going to be super tasty. With that, let's get into it. This is my recipe for a salsa roja with Costeño chilies. All right. First, I put a pot of water on a burner just to get it simmering. While that's coming up to temperature, I put a saute pan over medium-high heat and add in the chilies. I toss them a couple of times, and once they start getting puffy and aromatic, I pull them off the heat. Now, leave the saute pan on the burner on the heat and add 1 clove of garlic with the paper still on it. I'll let each side cook as the paper blackens and chars and rotate it as I go. After about 10 to 15 minutes, the garlic should be softened and fragrant, at which point you can take it off the heat, discard the burnt garlic paper, and set the roasted garlic clove off to the side. By now, the chili should have cooled enough for me to destem and de-seed them so I can prepare the rest of the chili for salsa. Once the pot of water is boiling, I turn off the heat, discard those stems and seeds, and dump all of the Costeño pieces into the hot water to steep for about 20 to 30 minutes. Then into the cup of blender, I transfer the rehydrated Costeño pieces, the roasted garlic clove, and enough steeping liquid to cover by about an inch. Now, keep in mind that the chilies will probably float, so maybe measure that inch from the bottom of the blender. Set the remaining steeping liquid off to the side, and we will probably use that later. Now, blend this all on high until it is well pureed and smooth. It should not be thick at this stage. Don't worry, we're going to be reducing this liquid in just a few minutes. So pour the chili and garlic mixture into the saucepan and bring it up to a simmer. You can add any herbs you want at this stage. Here I'm using fresh Hoja leaves as well as some bay leaves. Simmer this until it's reduced by half, which will be about 20 minutes or so. Once reduced, set another pot over the stove on medium heat and add about a tablespoon of coconut fat. Once hot, strain in the reduced and herb-infused salsa and allow it to cook for another 20 minutes. If the sauce is getting a little too tight, a little too thick, just just use some of that leftover chili steeping liquid from earlier, and you can pour it in and it'll loosen it just a bit. Once you've got the consistency just right, season it with salt, taste it, and then dig in. This thing goes great with tacos, tamales, mushrooms, meat, and even chocolate. And that's the recipe for Salsa Roja number 2. It's pretty simple, right? If you haven't tried some of these chilies, whether it's Costeño or something else, there's Puya, Arbol, Guajillo, there's a ton of them out there, and some of them will seriously blow your mind. They are fun, interesting, and really delicious. I'm gonna call it a day for now. So thank you so much for coming. If you haven't clicked the like and subscribe button, think about doing it. It's super helpful for the channel. You can find those buttons down below. Otherwise, I'm gonna get out of here. Thank you so much for coming. I'm gonna see you next time. Bye now.